Alright, let's start today's episode with a little game. So how many of you can actually remember this episode? And be completely honest, because nobody's impressed if you lie about it. Like, this is the Marowak episode, and how many people actually remember the Marowak episode? And I know a bunch of you are probably going to have some kind of Mandela effect, like, oh, this must take place in Lavender Town or something like that. No. This is the Marowak episode. The episode revolving around a Marowak. Do you remember it? And for anyone out there that's like, oh yeah, the Marowak episode, I remember that one. What happens in it? Tell me, before you watch the video, what happens in the Marowak episode? Because, what? What is this? I don't remember this episode at all. I've been watching this anime since it first came out when I was a small child, and just, what? This existed? Honestly, if you're like me and you had no recollection of this episode whatsoever, let me know, because I don't want to be the only one. We start the episode with the narrator telling us that even though Ash has tried to train for the Pokemon League, a statement which is very much debatable, he still has a lot to learn and is headed to Professor Oak's lab for some last-minute advice. Let's hope that advice is start fucking training, lads. Oak tells Ash if he's not ready now, he should just give up and go home. Mate, imagine if it just ended there, less than a minute into the episode, just like, yeah, you're probably right, I'll just go home. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 73. As Ash is about to leave, he yells to his mum to hurry up, and she runs out the door yelling, I'm coming! And Mimey pokes his head round the door looking very, very excited. I guess you could say he's been trained to respond positively to those two words, eh? Mate, that is grim. Banana. They called this episode Banana. Bad to the bone. Banana. You get it because Marowak carries a bone. Banana. That's gotta be the laziest bloody episode titling I've ever bloody well seen. The only way you could have made it any lazier is if you just called it episode 73. Oh no. The gang got ambushed by pure cringe. Oh no. This character exclusively talks like each word is a complete sentence. Perhaps he is a robot or just a bad voice actor. So the guy's name is Otoshi, and he challenges Ash to a battle where the loser would have to hand over all of their gym badges. Now Otoshi manages to manipulate Ash into taking the risk, of course, by questioning Ash's lack of confidence, which is great because it means we're actually getting a Pokemon battle. But how do people fall into situations like this? Like, how fragile does your self-worth have to be if you can get so rattled by a stranger that they can literally get you to do whatever they want? Like, the guy says to battle him and to give up your gym badges if you lose, and just because you're like, nah, I don't really fancy that because I don't know you and I don't know what Pokemon you might have or anything like that. Just because he's then like, oh, well, you must be scared to lose if you're not going to fight me. You suddenly think, oh, well, I don't want to look like a coward in front of this stranger. I'd better fight then. Mate, fuck that noise. It's like when strangers try and argue with you on social media and you're like, nah, mate, I'm not here to argue. You're not worth my time. You're clearly a cunt. And then they get all Billy Big Bollocks like, oh, you're scared to argue with me? Wow, you must be a coward then. Who gives a crap if some randomer thinks you're a coward? Like, what are they gonna do? Contact each of your friends and be like, I don't know if you know this, but that guy's a coward. And then your friends that you've known for years are going to be like, look, we can't be friends with you if you're a coward. Like, literally nothing's going to happen except a random stranger's going to think you're a coward and you're going to forget that person exists in an hour or so. The TLDR is, if you're wasting your time worrying about what strangers on fucking Twitter or Facebook think of you, just stop giving a shit. You'll be a lot happier. And just let me climb off my soapbox real quick. Otoshi sends out a Marowak and Ash checks Dexter for more info.
Marowak, a bone keeper Pokemon. Despite its small size, its offensive and defensive strength is impressive.
Yeah, 80 base attack. That's really impressive. Mate, this is a fully evolved Pokemon with the same base attack as Mankey and Geodude. And even Krabby can hit harder than Marowak. Not to mention, Marowak is defensively weaker than Tangela. It's not impressive at all, is it? Direct quote from Brock.
Better watch out, Ash. Marowak is bad to the bone.
Oh, the cringe is just too much today. I genuinely think that line made my dick retract back into my body. I effectively have just 2 belly buttons now. Thanks, Brock. Ash tells Bulbasaur to use Tackle on Atoshi's Marowak. I mean, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? I mean, who'd want to use super effective moves? In his defense, he does use Vine Whip right after, but if you were going to use that anyway, why start with Tackle? Marowak dodges all of Bulbasaur's attacks and then batters it with Bone Club. Then we get treated to the stereotypical anime standoff moment where both competitors just stand there and wait until Bulbasaur finally faints, which is always fun to see. Until you come to the realization that this moment, this standoff, is only there and only lasts as incredibly long as it does in order to pad out the episode. And when you consider we're only 4 minutes into the episode, that really doesn't bode well. What does bode well is the future of this channel. If you tap the like button on every single video that you see from me, of course, hit the like button on this video. It would be super duper appreciated if we could get this video to like 20,000 likes. That'd be wonderful. Don't forget to share the video on social media and of course leave a comment down below. And if you like, I liked the video, but I really don't know what to comment, just leave something super generic like,
"Wow, Marowak do be bony though."
And of course, if you're one of the wonderful people here watching this video, you found it and recommended but you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of the series, and of course go back and watch the entire one. We're like 73 episodes in, plus a Christmas special, plus a movie, which is pretty cool. After Bulbasaur gets battered, Ash sends in Pikachu, who defeats Marowak with a single Thunder Shock. Yep, a single electric attack, the weakest one that Pikachu knows for that matter, knocks out a pure ground-type Pokemon. Ash is a hacker. Confirmed. Direct quote from Ash.
"Looks like I win the badges."
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a minute, mate. Atoshi only lost 1 Pokemon, like you did just before with Bulbasaur. If you were allowed to send out Pikachu after your Bulbasaur fainted, then surely Atoshi is now allowed to send out a second Pokemon of his own, right? Why did Atoshi only get to use 1 Mon in this battle?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find that Atoshi did say that Marowak was his strongest Pokemon.
Yeah, sure, but just because Marowak is his strongest Pokemon doesn't mean the rest of his Pokemon can't be strong as well. Let's face it, he probably gave up because he figured Ash was hacking and thought there was no point. Atoshi has a little cry and explains that his 8 gym badges were all stolen, so he doesn't actually have any gym badges to give to Ash, but the flashbacks of him winning his gym battles are a complete mess. He apparently got a soul badge by defeating a Scyther, a Pokemon the Fuchsia City gym leader Koga has never owned. His Thunder badge is fine since it shows him beating Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. His Marsh badge, which he would have got from Sabrina, a Psychic type trainer, he beat someone with a Hitmonlee to get, so I've got no idea what's going on there. And then his Volcano badge is fine because he's shown defeating Blaine's Magmar and is even shown doing it in Blaine's secret gym. Now sure, 2 out of 4 ain't bad, but take note of the badges he has now because that changes quite a few times throughout the episode. So right now he has a Soul badge, a Thunder badge, a Marsh badge, and a Volcano badge. So let's take a note of that and continue. Now maybe I'm just a bastard, but I lost all sympathy for this kid getting his badges nicked once we saw the flashback of him and Marowak walking along after getting the 8th badge. Because Atoshi's just there tossing his little pouch of badges up and down. Mate, you are asking to be robbed. Like if I walked down the street just tossing my wallet up and down like that, nobody would be surprised if someone ran up and swiped it. Atoshi, use your noodle. Although remember, this is a flashback though. Atoshi, you should have used your noodle. Their next mistake was seeing a bunch of fruit lying around in the road and running over to eat it. Who eats fruit off the road? What's wrong with you, Atoshi? I don't care who you are, you don't just see fruit in the middle of the road and go, well, that's my lunch then. This guy's an idiot. It turns out it was a trap set up by Team Rocket, who pour Atoshi's badges into a lockbox for safekeeping. But hang on, Atoshi said he had 8 badges, and we do see 8 badges in this scene. However, there's the Soul badge, the Marsh badge, and the Volcano badge, like before, and also the Boulder badge and the Cascade badge, as well as 3 other badges that we've never seen before, making up the 8. But then where's the Thunder badge gone? And when did he get an extra 8th badge to replace it? After Atoshi reveals that it was indeed Team Rocket who stole the badges from him, Ash assures him that they'll help him get them back. Mate, after the stunt he pulled, I'd tell him to go fuck himself. He tried to take your badges from you rather than go to the police and report his badges stolen. Let him wallow in his self-pity, the knobhead. We see flashbacks of Ash's 8 gym battles, except for the Soul badge, we don't see Ash's Charmander destroying Koga's Golbat with Fire Spin. Instead, we see Bulbasaur hitting Leech Seed on a Venonat that belongs to Aya, Koga's sister. I guess Ash was having trouble remembering. After all, that episode, the Ninja Poké Showdown, was 41 episodes ago. So from the sound of it, much like ours, Ash's brain has been fried by all these filler episodes. So it turns out Jessie lied to James and Meowth about where she's going so that she could steal the badges for herself. She says to herself that she's going to enter the Pokemon League and prove that she's the best trainer around. But Jessie, you only have an Arbok and a Lickitung. How are you even planning to compete in the Pokemon League with just those? Like, mate, you're not even going to make it past the first round with just 2 Pokemon. Ash and friends soon find James and Meowth, and Ash gets Pidgeotto to pierce their balloon to stop them escaping. Tell me again why they don't just do this every time Team Rocket's balloon shows up. Like the number of times they've let Team Rocket get away when they could have easily just gone, Pidgeotto, burst the balloon again like you always do. It just seems weird that this isn't like Ash's automatic muscle memory reaction at this point. The gang force James and Meowth to show them all the things they have in their possession, but among their possessions they have photos of James from the previous Gloom episode. But who took these Polaroids? I actually went back and checked that episode, and Jessie and Meowth are behind James in those bushes when this photo was taken, so it couldn't have been them. I guess maybe Lickitung took them? I mean, they never use it, so it probably didn't have anything better to do. They also had some Pogs. Do you remember those? Mate, I used to collect Pogs like they were going out of fashion, and then I guess ultimately they did, didn't they? So shit. They even had Pokemon Pogs, so well done to Pokemon for that fantastic product placement. The only time I've seen better product placement than this is when Ace Trainer Liam shoehorns in an ad read for G Fuel. Mate, listen up because we got big G Fuel news this week. The biggest news of the week is that the Sonic the Hedgehog inspired flavor Peach Rings, which tastes like the Peach Rings candy if you've ever had it before, very, very nice. One of the top flavors G Fuel have ever made. Like, it's definitely up there in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. It's really, really good. It was previously only available in the US and Canada. It's now available worldwide. So if you're someone that loves G Fuel and you've been waiting desperately for Peach Rings to get a worldwide release, now is the time, and now is definitely the time because from today until Monday, Code ACE is 30% off. It's been boosted, so if you use our code to help out the channel, you get 30% off, and that applies to Peach Rings, the worldwide release. What a week this is. Oh, honestly, it really is one of the best flavors. So get yourself some G Fuel today. 30% off your order using code ACE, helps out the channel, helps you save money. It's win-win-win. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only because it contains caffeine and children don't need caffeine, and because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. And if you really want it, maybe I'll put that on a shirt. Marowak decides to bail because after working so hard to earn all those gym badges only for Atoshi to lose them 2 days before the league, he just doesn't want to be Atoshi's Pokemon anymore. And I don't blame him. Atoshi shouldn't have been such a tit and throwing the badges around like that willy-nilly. I will absolutely say Pokemon have done a terrible job of making me feel sympathy for this character because he's just an absolute toolbox. Ash then says Marowak's only going to come back if they catch Jessie and find those badges. But how can he be so sure? Marowak seemed pretty pissed off to me, so who's to say he's not just totally done with his crappy trainer? Maybe he just wants a new trainer now. What I'm saying is, Ash needs to be careful not to give Atoshi any false hope, because that could lead to a lot of disappointment. Jessie sees another trainer admiring his badges and shows off Atoshi's badges, claiming that they're hers, to this other trainer. But look at this. The Thunder badge, which was missing before, is now back, but now the Marsh badge is gone. And don't even get me started on what's happened to the Volcano badge. It's been squished. Did the animators really find it that hard to pick 8 badge designs and stick with them? The other trainer compliments Jessie by saying she must have worked so hard to get all those badges. But Jessie has 8, and that trainer also has 8. So surely if she'd earned those badges, she would have worked as hard as he did. So I don't get why he's so impressed. He also says he battled hard to win as many as he could, but he only has 8, the minimum requirement for entry into the Pokemon League. So you didn't battle hard to win as many as you could, you battled hard to win as many as were necessary. When Meowth questions if James is sure that the person they're looking at in the disguise is Jessie, James recalls a bunch of their different disguises and says he'd recognize Jessie's fashion flair anywhere. That's cool and all, James, but I noticed you didn't show off the disguise where you had the fake boobs. I wonder why. Jessie distracts the other trainer and then tries to steal his badges. But why? She has the 8 badges that she stole from Atoshi, and that's the requirement to get in the Pokemon League. So why does she need to steal more? Like, all you're doing here is making more people suspect you of being a badge thief and giving yourself more chance of being caught out. Jessie, mate, use your noodle. Just pop off to the Pokemon League now. That's all you need to do. Stop wasting time and put some distance between you and the person you stole the badges from. So James gets Jessie to blow her cover by starting off their
motto, knowing she wouldn't be able to resist joining in. As dumb as I think this is, it does make me laugh because it reminds me of those TikToks where you see someone hiding from a gunman and the gunman just yells, "Sweet Caroline." And don't lie, you just absolutely went, "Bum, bum, bum." It's impossible to resist. When Ash and friends catch up to Team Rocket, Jessie says they'll have to battle her if they want to get the badges back, an offer which Atoshi accepts. Ash reminds Atoshi that he doesn't have Marowak anymore, and Atoshi says he'll just have to use a different Pokemon. Which reminds me, why the hell didn't you use another Pokemon earlier against Ash? You just gave up after Marowak fainted, and it's still bothering me.
Well, actually, Liam, maybe Atoshi was just so devastated by Marowak's loss that he couldn't bear to continue.
Oh, don't give me that garbage excuse. If he only had one decent Pokemon with him, then what business did he have even thinking about entering the Pokemon League? He surely has at least 5 other decent Pokemon with him. Atoshi sends out a Doduo, and honestly, that took me completely by surprise. Like, I don't know what I expected his other Pokemon to be, but honestly, Doduo was not one I even considered. Anyone else feel like this? It just seems really out of left field. I mean, it works for me though, because I love Doduo, so I'm not going to complain. It's just weird. Meanwhile, Atoshi's former Marowak walks into a clearing and sees 4 trainers training with their Pokemon. The thing I don't get is, why are they all training in the same area but not battling each other? Like, surely the best training for a Pokemon battle tournament would be practicing your Pokemon battling, wouldn't it? Yeah, mate, that's it. Get your Nidoran to practice jumping. That'll get you through the Pokemon League. Seriously though, if you're about to enter the Pokemon League and that thing's still just a Nidoran, you've got your work cut out for you, mate. I mean, why not wait a year? Do a little bit more training. Come back with at least a Nidorino. Who knows, maybe you'll find a Moonstone in the meantime. We wouldn't want to see the little purple bastard get annihilated now, would we? Marowak then thinks back to its own training with Atoshi and recalls jumping through a flaming hoop and Atoshi yelling, "That's the spirit, Marowak! If you can do it, I can do it too!" and jumping through the hoop himself, and of course ending up on fire. I guess Atoshi needed to learn that just because you can do something doesn't always mean that you should. Atoshi is a numpty. Pass it on.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find just because Atoshi was a numpty in a flashback, that doesn't mean that he's still a numpty today.
Sure, but let's be real though. He's probably still a numpty. In fact, yeah, of course he's still a numpty. That's how he ended up getting his badges stolen. Bloody numpty. After reminiscing about the good times, Marowak has himself a little cry and runs off to find Atoshi. Honestly, mate, I don't know why you're letting the past convince you to go back. You know he's useless in the present day. Waste of time if you ask me. I bet these two never win the Pokemon League. Atoshi's Doduo gets battered by Jessie's Arbok and ends up confused, but I can't figure out how that happened. Arbok can't learn any moves that would have confused Doduo. And part of me thought, oh, maybe Doduo was using Thrash, and then because Thrash was interrupted, it ended up confused, but Doduo can't learn Thrash either, so how did it end up confused? Stupid anime writers, just making up any old bollocks. Jessie goes to catch Atoshi's Doduo. How that would have worked, I don't quite know, but Marowak's bone flies into the scene and knocks the Pokeball away. And mate, how good does it feel when they do something like this in the Pokemon anime, and then they throw in that music that's like, down, diddle-down, diddle-down, down, down. Oh, it's so good. At least that's one thing they do really, really well. And that's my positive point for the day. Jessie sends Arbok on the attack, and Atoshi immediately tells Marowak to use Focus Energy. Oh, he's one of them cunts. Atoshi, mate, just get into the fight. Stop worrying about your crit ratio. We're finally getting Pokemon battles in the anime. Please don't make them boring. Jessie tells her Arbok to use Double Edge attack. Wait, when the hell did it learn that? Arbok can't even learn Double Edge in Gen 1 without a TM, so when did she pick that up? And I swear, if one more person tells me that TMs aren't canon in the anime, I will actually scream. They must be canon at this point. Just because they're never explicitly mentioned in the anime, it doesn't prove that they don't exist. Much in the same way we know our heroes at some point probably have to go and crouch in a little bush and take a little poo every once in a while, but they don't talk about it. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I guess we can assume this Bone Club was probably a big old crit from that Focus Energy, and super effective too, which is nice to see coming from one of the characters in the anime for a change. I still reckon he didn't need to use that Focus Energy, especially since he followed up Bone Club with Bonemerang without a moment's hesitation. Like, Arbok just got bodied. I just don't think you needed the extra critical hit power. James sends out Weezing, and Ash sends in Pikachu to use Thunderbolt, and of course it hits both Arbok and Weezing because Ash is a hacker. Any excuse to step in and steal the spotlight, eh? I'm pretty sure Atoshi had everything under control. You didn't need to step in there. Marowak uses Bonemerang and somehow blows up Team Rocket's hot air balloon with it. What the hell is in that bone? Is it actually a stick of fucking fucking dynamite. How did a ground type move even work? Surely the hot air balloon's a flying type. Also, I have to call bullshit on this plot armor right here. You know, the one that sees the lockbox with the Toshi's badges in completely unaffected by the explosion and blasted in the direction of Ash and his friends who caught it safely when everything else on the hot air balloon was blown the other way. What actual bloody hogwash? Did I actually just say hogwash? What the fuck? Just leave it in. Well, I mean, at least the badges haven't changed again, but I'd really like to know what happened to Atoshi's Marsh badge. And somebody really needs to fix that volcano badge. Just flatten it out with a rolling pin or something. After our friends say goodbye to Atoshi and Marowak, they continue on their way to the Pokemon League. What's weird is that they didn't walk there with Atoshi and Marowak. Like, throughout the episode, Brock has been saying that they're risking being late for the Pokemon League, which also means that Atoshi and Marowak are risking being late for the Pokemon League. So if they're not all walking there together so that they can get there on time, what are Atoshi and Marowak doing? Please don't tell me that after all that, they've decided to miss this year and come back next year. And to end on a positive note, Brock pointing out the Indigo Plateau and realizing how close we are to the Pokemon League, mate, that gave me actual chills. I know there's still a bit of filler to go, but man, it feels so good to almost be there. So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon Season 1, Episode 73, Bad to the Bone. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Use code ACE for 30% off G Fuel until Monday. And of course, head to twitch.tv/AceTrainLiam for all of my live streams. I'll probably be live when this goes live. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.